You've played through most of the games and beaten them already, but you just recently picked up the PlayStation VR, and you'll be surprised to know that some titles out there have add-on VR experiences. So what are they exactly? They're basically add-on VR experiences to existing games. You might have played them from start to finish using the PlayStation 4, but if you picked up the PlayStation VR recently, you're in for a special treat because these are like Easter eggs. You don't know it until you have the PlayStation VR. So I'm just going to talk about some of the games that have them. The first one I'm going to talk about here is Dirt Rally for the PlayStation 4. It was released back in April 2016, and it's pretty much a typical run-of-the-mill off-road rally action game. So it's a racing game, but with the add-on VR experience, you're basically put into the driver's seat. You can look around inside of your car, you can look behind you, see who's tailing you, and it definitely gives you that first-person perspective. Rise of the Tomb Raider was released back in 2015, so you've probably beaten it a long time ago, but it was only recently in October 2016 when they released a special VR add-on experience called Blood Ties. Now, the gameplay in this add-on VR experience is nothing like the core gameplay with the game. Instead, it's mostly an explorative experience where you're solving puzzles. You do get that VR element, but it doesn't have necessarily the same action styling. The assembly is basically this interactive story game set in this first-person view when you're playing it normally in the PlayStation 4, and very much acts like any first-person shooter. It's not really heavy on the action, but instead it's mostly emphasizing exploration and puzzles. But if you own the PlayStation VR, you could see the world through the eyes of your player, so it gives you more of that personal feel. Motor Racer 4 is another game in our list here that has a special add-on VR experience. Now, the core game is pretty fast-paced because you're riding your motorcycle through these courses, but with the add-on VR experience, it's more like a tease because it's only enabled in two modes, the time attack and hot lap modes. You don't really get to play in the career mode with this, but still, it's nice because you get that first-person perspective of being in the seat of your bike. Here They Lie for the PlayStation 4 is pretty scary on its own. It's a survival horror psychological thriller game where you're just trying to understand what's going on in this world that you're in. There's a lot of creepy moments in the game, but with the PlayStation VR, the add-on experience definitely makes it more demented just because you're now seeing this very nightmarish world through the eyes of your player. Okay, we all know how scary the Resident Evil franchise is when it comes to playing the games, but with Resident Evil 7, there is that add-on VR experience that really takes it to the next level. Just because now you are in the game, you could see everything that's happening around you, and not only you're fighting against all these monsters and zombies, but when you're in that first-person view and you're going through this scary-looking house, every corner is a scary moment because you never know what's going to happen, and that's the beauty about this VR experience. It's one thing to play the game statically as you're playing it normally in the PS4, but it's totally another when you play it with the PlayStation VR. So those are just some games that have add-on VR experiences. You could play them normally in your PlayStation 4, but if you have a PlayStation VR, you're going to be treated to some additional stuff like what I mentioned throughout this video. So if you guys want to learn more about any of the games I talked about here, you could check out our website, VRSource, your source for all kinds of reality.